I keep getting terribly sidetracked. You know what this is? This is getting sidetracked. I hate to say it, but this too is me getting sidetracked. So what I need is something to make sure I don't keep getting sidetracked, because I have a lot of things I need to get done in this series if I want to continue making progress. Granted, those sidetracks are the exact kind of thing I want to do, but I need a means of resources and whatnot before I keep going on with all the fancy stuff. So what I need to do is set up a to-do board. I'm thinking right over there on the beach, where one of my future projects is gonna go, but I never think to do it because I don't have a nice to-do list. So what do I actually want to do here? I have a lot of tasks, but I don't know if I've shared them with you. First things first, well, first thing to go on the list anyways, is I need a pickle farm. Why? Because I want all of this lit up. I'm not sure how far out, but at least far enough so drones stay away from my village. It's been a constant problem, and I am sick of it. Absolutely sick of it. Because I want to set my villagers free. I want my villagers to be able to enjoy the village. But I also do want to do my own village upgrade. I love my butcher shop. My butcher shop I enjoy. But we got more buildings we want to make. So obviously we need a blacksmith, a library, a watchmaker. Why a watchmaker? Just for the building. I have an idea. There are going to be other ones, but those are the ones I really kind of need at the moment. Definitely the library, because I don't like them living in that little hole. Right, so this bottom is basically work over there. Work for over here. Something to go in the head. I still haven't decided what farms, and I am thinking passive farms like the honey, the sugar cane, because we definitely need a sugar cane farm. And a bamboo farm, because, you know, now that you can make them into blocks and playing switch, I know it may not sound like a new feature to you, but to me, I've never really done that. So I'd like to do that. What else? The task that I actually want to put right here. I have an idea, and have had an idea for a nice portal here that I've had since I started this world originally. And that is a massive skull. Like one with moss growing over it, maybe like a giant used to roam these areas, right? You know, just something to put my portal in. I almost forgot the storage system. That one's got to be at the top of the list. That's a well overdue project now that we have all the resources. And in the last episode I mentioned I want a barn, that way I have a place to keep all my animals, because they just kind of live sad in the village right now. Maybe a melon and pumpkin farm, but after early game with trading, you don't really need one all that much. I'm well past the point of really needing them on a constant. After the storage system is done, I do want to put a massive auto smelter in there with it. So let's add that to the board. We've got one more spot. What has to go there? To put it bluntly, let's just put the mansion. It needs to be done. You know, we're making progress, but I wouldn't call it progress. You know, it's pretty minute what we've done so far. And just like that, we have a nice to-do board. Hopefully, I can, pick one from this list and not keep getting sidetracked. Although, that one was important. That one, I wanted it. I wanted it. Actually, I might want a nice melon and pumpkin farm, mainly because, XP. Ooh, I should have put an XP farm on the list. But the board's full. I make the rules. Alright. Now it looks clunky, but it actually looked like a manila folder. Yeah, that's how you keep your information sorted, a nice manila folder. Sorry, folder. I thought of something else. I need to make a smaller iron farm. What I have there was temporary. I got the iron I needed. So I gotta take that bad boy down and make a new one. But I do want to design it. And from what I've heard, they've gotten way easier to make yourself. I'm also gonna need a bone meal farm. I'm sure at some point I'm gonna need an obscene amount of bone meal, and it'd be great to have it on hand. Especially if I need to set up any tree farms in the future. Especially for mangrove. Because that one is a pain in the batoot. I really hope I don't think of anything else, because I don't want to keep making this taller. I have finally decided which task I am going to start off with today. There really is no other option on which one is by far the most important, and that is, of course, finishing the storage system. It's most of the way done. Well, it's laid out and everything, and it's just all the tedious work left. And I do believe this is the final iteration of items, but I am not 100% sure yet. I'll go back through that again. Don't mind that I fell off the porch here. And then after that, we'll go through and add the items into the system. But first, putting it together. Excuse me, Mr. Wall, just for a moment if you don't mind. There may now be better ways of going about making these mass sorting systems, but I'm going to stick with the one I know and have used for many years, and that's where you just start off by making a nice pillar of hoppers along the backside. Having the chest here isn't required, but I like to have it because if you just use 2 hoppers instead, you get an extra chest. But you can have a chest here because on this block here, you gotta have yourself some ice for your items to run across. We're not going to be worrying about the whole running portion yet. We're just going to be placing in the hoppers and the redstone and come back after the fact to do all the water trailing and where is it going to go, in what order, blah blah blah. Since there is a lot of thought that actually has to go into that so items don't despawn. Now for the actual redstone portion of this here, all you're going to need is to go back 3 blocks, down 1, forward down, up, right? So you just make a little gun shape here at the back. You have a repeater go into it, a nice redstone torch on the other side, 3 redstone dust, 1 comparator facing that away, and then a hopper facing into the comparator. Just copy and paste this across the whole line for every single chest. If you plan to build something like this, make sure before you start you go through and see how many resources you might possibly need, because I just assumed I had enough, but I was vastly wrong. A few episodes back, we made a temporary iron farm, and I thought I would have collected enough iron by now to get this done, no sweat. But one thing was unaccounted for, and that is the iron farm just stopping. Now I will be going into a little bit more detail on this after the time lapse is over with. But please learn from my mistakes and go through the numbers before starting. It will definitely save you a headache. And if you're fine building section by section, then more power to you. But especially in a situation like this where I'm filming it, I want it all done in one go so I can get a nice video for y'all. One thing I do have to mention here real quick is in the middle of this build I did have to temporarily stop. And that was to see if I could actually fit my mass smelting system inside of one of these big chambers that are in between our actual walking ways. So what you see there is not permanent, it was just temporary to see if everything fits, because as you could probably tell, it's not very functional. Does it work? Sure, but there's a lot of problems with it, and we'll address those most likely next episode. The largest issue being some of the redstone interferes with hoppers that are in the sorting system, and we definitely can't have that. There is a simple solution to it, but I want you to be there with me when I actually correct all that. And with me now placing in the final bits of the sorting system, I shall now play for you the clips of me ranting about how frustrated I was about the iron situation. We have a bit of a problem here. I don't know how big of a problem it is, but it's a problem. So obviously right now I'm supposed to be working on my storage system. You're going to see this after this, but I ran out of iron, which shouldn't be possible considering the fact we have an iron farm. But there is an issue with it. See that minecart? You see that? You know what's supposed to be in that minecart? A zombie. This is the 3rd time that the zombie has just disappeared. Now, I don't know how that could happen. Not only did it have an item that I had given to it, it also had a name tag. There is no reason this zombie should have despawned. And all 4 chests are now empty from how much iron hoppers need. Now, I think I might just have enough to make it to the end of the system, because I did have a lot of ore from mining out the slime farm. I just never smelted it down or mined it because I thought, oh, I'll never need iron again. Aside from the nagging iron problem and a little redstone mining, the rest of the process actually went very smoothly. Taking some time before even starting building the sorting system to actually decide what blocks I use the most and would like to use in the series the most, which ones I'd like to have on mass storage, definitely was beneficial when it came to this step. I got everything nice and sorted in an order that is practical. I have a section for my most used items that's going to be next to the elevator, which I actually moved its location. Not physically yet, because there is no elevator quite yet. Hopefully next episode, but there is a long list of chores to do before we get to the elevator. I'm still not sure how I'm going to make this elevator, probably with slime block flying machines, but we'll see when we get there. Now for the most important part of any build you can do in Minecraft, the floor. So I decided, since this is below my main building, it to kind of be, I don't want to say a sewer, but it to have some kind of water channels below my storage unit. You could possibly call it some kind of aqueduct, but one thing is for certain, it is fresh water. There's no icky water flowing between my stuff. I don't want to ruin my lovely possessions. When I did start putting in all the redstone, I had not intended to put the floor in until the very end. But as I was putting my items in, I realized that I don't like a lot of the items that go in their item frames. They can end up being too small, or in some cases just don't make any sense. So I wanted to go through and use armor stands. And once armor stands are in place, you're not moving them. They're stubborn. They're very stubborn. Another thing I didn't really mean to do was I found a new home for John and Yoko. Since they were in the floor down here, I was kind of forced to move them out. So I ended up using the opposite side of the smelting system, and I made a little aquarium, for lack of a better term, for John and Yoko to live in. I think it came out very nice. I'm actually way happier with it than I had originally thought. Initially, I had wanted them up in the entryway with Ozzy, but I wasn't sure how to integrate that, so having it integrate so well down here made me very happy, especially since in any Minecraft survival, most of your time is going to be spent in your sorting unit. With that being said, the choice of flooring is actually very important. I ended up deciding on going with copper due to the fact that I personally have never once used copper as a decorative block. Now, it's been in the game for quite a while now, and it's well past due for me to do something with it. All I have waxed thus far is just the bulbs so they don't dim on me, but I'm leaving everything else to oxidize, and then I'll come back later on and wax and pattern with all the oxidization that happens naturally. I don't know if copper oxidizes in clusters or if it just does it randomly block per block. I'm kind of hoping it does it in clusters though. That's kind of the feel I want. I don't want the whole thing to be oxidized, but since it is over top of water, I want some of it to be oxidized. I am officially on the other side of the iron problem, and I only had about enough for half. This took an obscene amount of iron to make, so I did end up getting a new zombie for the iron farm here. But as you can see, it is done. Well, can't really see here. But as you can see, it is all ironed up, all hoppered up and waiting for items. But we ran into another problem. There are 3 items I don't have yet. Now you might see these and say, oh, there's no item there. They're there. They're just items I want to put on armor stands, which is the only reason I already have the floor in. I can't put in armor stands without having a floor first. Otherwise, it's going to result in new problems. We also did get a nice little viewing window for John and Yoko, our lovely mansion mascot. The floor here isn't quite set in stone yet. I do like it quite a bit. This is actually my first time using copper as a decorative block, and the only thing that's waxed is the light bulbs. I'm not sure how I want this all oxidized, so I'm just going to kind of let it slowly, naturally oxidize up some, and then I'll come back later with an axe and some honeycomb. Yeah, honeycomb waxes it, and then worry about it then. But as for the items that are missing, right here there are 3 empty chests. And in these chests, I want to have frog lights. And I didn't even put Froglight Farms on the to-do board, unfortunately, so let's go do that real quick. But we can officially knock the first thing off the to-do board, John and Yoko. That's right, they have a nice home, and they seem pretty happy in there. But that still does leave a massive list of to-dos. But as far as I see it right now, this one's almost at a standstill. Excuse me, I am trying to film. So after we put in the armor stands for our non-block items, or ones that I just want to be a little extra bougie with, our next required task has to be Froglight Farm. Because after the water is running through, I'm not really going to have any working room to get up into the rafters there and put in new items. At least not with ease. All because of this dang ceiling right here. Right? Because there's, one block there. And after that, there's just the floor I can't remove. Because right now I can move kind of freely up here, but not fully free. Right? I'm already having movement troubles when it comes to going from segment to segment without using an elytra. And after we have channels running through here, it's going to be a massive problem. But while I'm up here, I should put in the ceiling so I don't forget about it again. There is one exception to a block on an armor stand instead of it just being an item, and that is concrete powder. The reason for this is if I accidentally pour water in here, which I know for a fact I will at some point, then it won't turn into regular concrete. As long as gravity is off on your armor stand, it will not be pushed by the water. For some items, I don't like using armor stands because it makes the item a little too small for my liking. But for things like the die, they are quite a substantial size even in an item frame. But for these, I am going to be using this command to make them both invisible and unbreakable. That way, again, if I do accidentally spill some water, then it won't be a problem, and it will also prevent me from accidentally rotating it, which just is a bit of a pet peeve of mine. And here we are on the other side of the project. Now there are a couple unique things about this. One being, this I like how I set up the moss here. I'm not sure if it's great, but I think it's a little better than just laying moss on the ground. Maybe that's just me. I'm not sure how happy I am with these saplings. I might still just come back and put regular saplings. I know I want them protected from possible water spills, but aesthetics are more important. I did also try out a new archway idea. I'm not sure how I feel about it. From here, I really like it. I don't know how I like the dark oak mixed with the nice grays here. We'll see. We are still missing the 3 frog lights, but that'll most likely be next episode. But we are still missing these as well. And I need some custom heads for these. Why? I just want them. They're just items I feel deserve custom heads. Now, I love these little tanks. I kind of want to do a little bit more, give some vegetation or something, make it like an actual little aquarium, but that's more of an in the future kind of thing. One thing that's really going to take some getting used to is the sound of the copper. It kind of sounds like the sound of my chair squeaking, right? Maybe that's going to be a good thing, maybe not, but when I was editing the previous clip, it was just throwing me off so badly. I did clear out a little space here for running the water channels, but that will have to be next episode. I'm running very low on time until this episode has to be released. But now the question becomes, do I have 9 miscellaneous heads lying around? I might have some squid heads, but let's see. I see none in here. Ooh, we got a wandering and a llama. 1 squid head, that doesn't seem like a lot. We have a cow, a donkey, a phantom. Alright, I got nothing else over here, but I do know for certain I have some over by my iron farm. Man, is this ugly. I can't wait to tear this down. Oh, alright. Let's just grab the heads and go. So what I'm thinking here, to give the machine a reference for what I actually want, is I take some item frames and just kind of stick them along the sides here. Just stick them anywhere for right now. And we take our items, just in any order really, just plop them down. And then after the machine processes, it should take these items and merge them with our heads. Right? Makes sense to me. Does it make sense to you? I hope so. Beautiful. Alright, so now we just gotta toss in our heads. If we can get all of them in our hotbar here. Goodbye, ugly heads. We'll see you on the other side. Oh yeah, it sounds wonderful. Beautiful. Oh, I gotta think of a cleaner way to do that. Maybe even have like a second tube to put them in. I don't know, but we got our heads. That's the important part here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Oh, that's gorgeous. Just get rid of these slabs, and we will officially be done with this project until we get our beautiful frog lights. I hate that this is our roadblock on finishing everything up there, but again, I don't want to lock myself out of, being able to get this done. So you are gonna have to be our next step here. So thank you all for joining me here today. We made massive progress on our sorting system. It's not 100% done yet, but it's pretty darn close. We are now officially in desperate need of a frog farm, and I don't know how to make one. If you have any recommendations on how I do that, please drop them in the comments. And while you're down there, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It would help me out a ton, and it would let me know you like what you're watching. On that note, I will be seeing you in the next episode. See ya!